What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Gary, today we are going to be answering your question regarding Solana Web3. Now, Web3 as a whole and Solana Web3 is a broad topic. So in order for us to really go into the details of Solana itself and what they're doing that is unique to Web3, we got to understand first what Web3 even is. Now, this has been like the talk of the crypto town for years now. Everybody talks about Web3 because crypto is really at the heart of Web3. And it means a lot of different things for a lot of different people. So the broader idea, though, of Web3 is picture an internet that is owned by the people, okay? So the applications, the websites that run on the internet are all decentralized and governed by its users. So like an Amazon, for example, that is run by the customers, where the customers would then, vote on proposals and basically run the Amazon site. Now, there is some centralizations and some things would run differently, but really crypto as a whole is Web3. That is, it kind of encompasses the idea of Web3. And again, the base idea behind this is for people to be the ones that govern it, and for most of it to be decentralized, the information to be decentralized. So, what is Solana doing to tackle Web3 and to really push us in that direction mainstream? Well, there's a few main ways that I think that they're approaching this, and where I think that they have a really big lead on Ethereum, especially. And the obvious ones are fees. We obviously know Ethereum is very expensive, and yes, this is proposed to change in the future here. They're talking about ETH 2.0 and all this stuff and reducing gas fees. But the thing is even when ETH 2.0 rolls out, they're still guessing that gas fees will be in the double-digit numbers sometimes, maybe even the triple digits, depending on how many new users come back on. So that's the biggest issue that I see with Web3, is that you have to be able to make it cheap and affordable for people to use. I think the best way to get people to onboard to Web3 is to make it free. I think it really needs to be free. Because think about it. What if you had to pay $1, $5 every time you Googled something? You probably wouldn't Google that many things, right? You would stop using Google, and Google wouldn't be what it is today. So there needs to be a way to monetize Web3 without charging the customer directly who is using it. So, that obvious answer is advertisements, but there needs to be other incentives there too. Otherwise, it'll get no use. And if it's on Ethereum and people are having to pay $5-10 every time they do a transaction on it, that's too much. Think about how many times you search stuff on the internet, it would just be ridiculous. So I think Solana, obviously right out of the gate, Solana's fees are ridiculously low. So they're extremely low, near pennies, even sub pennies, I think, most of the time. So that is one major aspect and a leap that it has on Ethereum. And then the second major leap is its speed. So obviously, to facilitate the internet, that requires a lot of transactions. Like if everyone tomorrow decided that they wanted to use Web3, and let's pretend everything was running on Web3 tomorrow, think about how many Google searches, sites get accessed. All of this stuff would technically be a transaction on the blockchain. And I know there's other technical factors behind the scenes that you could do, so it's not a transaction, but for the most part, it would be tons of transactions. So you would need lots of throughput in blockchain block space on the chain in order to facilitate that. And I don't even think Solana is quite there yet. They need some more nodes and things like that, but that is what they are working towards. Now, in order to get people to use it outside of cheap fees and speed, what you really also need is an easy on-ramp. And this gets me into the conversation of the Solana phone. This is why the Solana phone is such a big deal, if they can actually execute on it. Now, they're not the first ones to roll out a crypto phone. Last cycle, there was a company, and I'm blanking on their name, but they tried to roll out a crypto phone as well. Never came to fruition. But I do have a lot more faith in Solana than I do that one company that was trying to roll that out, and mainly because they have so much money behind them. I truly do think that there's going to be a phone that rolls out. Now, why is the phone so significant? Well, that phone is your on-ramp, and in order to get people to use your network, you need to have an easy on-ramp. If it's too complicated, people aren't going to do it. And right now, I think Solana, while it's really not all that complicated, to the outsider looking in who's just starting to get in crypto, it is complicated. So if it's already on their phone, or if they can get a phone that gives them direct access to the blockchain, and this phone, the goal of the phone is to be also your hardware wallet, if it can all be in one place just like that, that is an easy on-ramp. All you have to do is get people your phone. It sets up their wallet for them. It protects their private keys. They don't have to do anything with that except for maybe write their private keys down. I'm not really sure the ins and outs on how the phone's going to work. But if they can use that phone now to access Solana in the blockchain, then it's super seamless. You don't have to go to an exchange and buy a certain token and deposit that, like you can do it all from your phone. Like it's amazing. And I'm sure that they'll roll out some sort of integration with FTX so that you can buy Solana directly without having to go to an exchange or something like that. That's my guess on how this will roll out. But again, you're creating a massive, easy to use on-ramp, and ultimately where the users come, the more users there are in a network, the greater the network effect, which in turn will slowly increase their dominance over time or quickly, depending on how fast they roll this out and how successful the phone is. So I think that this is a really big deal when you're talking about Web3 and getting integration into the mainstream world. Solana NFTs have been picking up a lot too. And ETH NFTs are still huge, and I think they're always going to be huge. But I think that these other chains, when you're talking about free mints, and some games being a big one. Now, I am a big believer in Avalanche when it comes to their subnets and the way that all works for gaming and things like that. But Solana also can run high throughput, and it has a really, really amazing blockchain structure. It's so fast and capable of so much that you really can start. It doesn't hinder these developers that are looking to build complex projects that might be expensive on Ethereum, because that's a big headwind that people are facing on Ethereum, is that these developers, they don't want to build projects that require lots of transactions on Ethereum, because if they do that, it'll be too expensive and nobody will use it, even if it's great. But they can take that same project idea, move it to something like Solana, and make it an amazing, successful, cheap to use project. And so I think that's a lot of what we're going to see. And again, I think that this phone is massive as far as the on-ramp to Solana goes. Really, I mean, if think about that, not having to carry around a ledger. Imagine if your phone was a secure hardware wallet that you didn't have to worry about your keys. Like that's pretty amazing. That's a pretty big feat if it works. So obviously the big thing there is if it works. But again, yeah, I think that's a huge step forward. I would like to see more innovative stuff, like breaking through into the real world with a lot of crypto projects, just in general. I think there's too much seclusion in the crypto space. Like, crypto people and crypto developers are making things for crypto users. But what if, instead of, everyday Joe having to come to crypto, what if we came to Joe? What if crypto came to everyday Joe? And I think that a phone is sort of the first and a huge step in that direction. Think about that. Joe now, he might go to the Verizon store and just be looking around and see the Solana phone, pick it up, and now all of a sudden he's being broken into the crypto space. Not to say that that's how they're going to roll out the phone. I'm not really sure how the ordering is going to work, if it's going to be mainstream or things like that. But you see what my point there is, that, this is an easier way for people to pick up on crypto and really use it. And the goal of crypto is ultimately, the goal of anything that is massively successful, like a network, is for people to not really even realize they're using it. And I think that's the direction that crypto is going to go, and I think Solana gets it. I think Solana understands this, that it needs to be seamless. Like, Remember the old days when you had to go on the internet and you had to type in the exact address of the website you wanted to go to? It was a lot more complex. If you had dial-up, you had to dial up, and it was a whole process just to get to use the internet. Now the internet is integrated into everything you use, and you might not even realize half the time that you're using the internet. Now, most of us are conscious of the fact that we are, but I think crypto is going to be a similar situation. Like, we'll use the applications that run on blockchains, and our interactions with the actual blockchains are going to be more behind the scenes. Like, we're not going to have to focus on bridging to Solana or, you know, the main net itself. I think that that's just going to be the sub layer, and we'll use all the applications that run on top of it. And every blockchain understands this, and Ethereum understands this, but the issue is we just don't have those on-ramps yet, and I think Solana is working towards that with the phone. So, Gary, I hope this, you know, answered your question some. Again, it's a super broad topic, so if there was something that you wanted me to target in particular, definitely let me know. Comment that below, and I'd be happy to tackle that as well. But again, Web3 as a whole, I think is where things are heading, and it's just a matter of which blockchains, I do think it'll be multiple blockchains, can serve the customer cheaply, and can find a way to monetize without having, while being practically free. Now, there's a lot of issues with being free and no transaction fees, and that is a problem for the developers to solve. But when they do, again, I think that, you know, we see crypto and blockchain technology in general really take off. So guys, if this is your first time here, please like and subscribe, and with that being said, I'll see you next time.